Hi, George.
Hi, Mel.
Do you feel that by not making a choice, you are making a choice?
I get scared. I'm losing every day.
I love you too. George, he's gonna clap in front of your face.
Mark?
I'm sorry.
Was there a mosquito or a gnat? I use the analogy of driving down the road, and up ahead the bridge is out. When I get to that place, I'm going to hurl over into the abyss below, but I need to take the medication before I hit bottom.
3 years ago, George was diagnosed with ALS, a neurodegenerative disease that slowly kills the muscles in a person's body.
It is a challenge to live daily with loss. I've always been extremely active. I always felt relatively bulletproof. So that changed unannounced, unexpectedly, out of the blue. There is someone pushing another button to keep this leg from moving. Someone else pushing other buttons. I can't straighten out my hand. Push another button. Now my head logs over to the side. You have to be ready to acknowledge the loss and say, that's another piece that I have to give up. Those things are gone, and you're dealing with the recognition that it's not coming back.
1, 2, 3.
I don't want him to have to suffer. I believe suffering is when you can no longer move. You're just stuck in a chair 24 hours a day. There's very little left. I want to just be there for him.
In the 2016 elections, Colorado passed the End-of-Life Options Act, or Medical Aid in Dying, that would allow terminally ill patients, like George, to drink a lethal cocktail to end their lives.
Don't dying people need help too?
The End-of-Life Options Act is accessible in 8 states across the U.S. After getting the prescription for life-ending medication, George is meeting with an activist from End of Life Washington to go over how the medication works.
Step-by-step instructions for taking life-ending medications.
But obtaining the prescription for the medication, which George already has, is a multi-step process. First, the patient has to make 2 oral requests for the medication, and 2 doctors have to determine that the patient is terminal and has 6 months left to live. Both oral requests and doctor's visits have to be 15 days apart. There's also a competency test to ensure the patient is doing this on their own terms.
Sometimes it's just one person they want in the room, and then other times they'll have all their loved ones, all with a glass of champagne, and they have their medicine, and everybody else has a glass of champagne, and they toast, and you drink your meds, and we drink champagne.
I like the champagne idea. I'll have to get bombed.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Let me go through another door.
Here I go.
The life-ending medication is taken in liquid form. So for people with ALS, who can lose the ability to swallow, that window to take the medication gets smaller every day. That means if George waits too long to take the medication, he'll lose that choice.
When I go to the ALS support group and I see my fellow patients pass, I know it's real. And I've had conversations with them. You need not suffer this way. You have a choice. I am George. I personally am at my 3-year anniversary. So I trail them on the same road that we're all going down, without exit.
I'm Carrie, and I'm here to support Ashley.
I'm Chris. I'm here to support my sister too.
I'm Eric, and I'm
I'm Ashley.
Just your first month. Many months to come.
Yeah.
We will love you in our family.
You have to find something in Denver.
You don't ever enter relationships without the possibility of pain. Pain makes it more cherishable. It makes it more valued. So if you had that pain, it tells you it was a worthwhile thing to have. That's what I wish for Karen.
Evans.
Oh, let's do a toast then.
As well.
Toast.
Toast.
To you.
ALS.
ALS.
F-U-A-L-S.
F-U-A-L-S, that's right.
There, there, Shannon.
All right, there.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
It's changed from that beginning love to the end love. Things are not full of sparks and fireworks, but they're deeply felt within your heart. George did not get any sleep last night because his legs were hurting. His pain feels like bone pain. It's way deep, and there's nothing to relieve it, so he just suffers. I could hear him whimpering last night and restless, and I got up a couple times with him when he called me. So our sleep is kind of interrupted usually. Knowing that there is no cure for ALS we accept it, although we're still saddened by it. Now we're both at the point where we know the ending. I haven't prepared for life after George. I don't think there's a way to do that.
I love you.
I love you too.
I don't know what's worse, to die and shorten one's life, or to know how much hurt you're going to leave your partner when you do that. I have tried and will continue to try to prepare my wife for my departure. I now need to prepare myself for that departure and come to acceptance that I'm going to lose.
It's nice and chilled for you as usual.
Good.
Breathe normal for a minute.
George has been struggling to choose his last day.
How I get to the point to make that choice, I don't know. I can't answer that.
I know.
And people always will say, you'll know it when the time is right. But it's not like this little pulse oximeter.
Right.
This is objective.
Right. Although, I've had some people that they just decide, this is it. It's on my calendar.
Whoopee! Little smiley face right there on the calendar. Yeah.
Every day I come, I never know what I'm walking into. And I've seen him when he has his choking episodes and he can't breathe. And that's probably the scariest part of my job, is because I can't do anything for him. The fear in his eyes, it's something I've never witnessed before.
There was an incident, a breathing episode, looking at the clock, gasping for breath. It's 6:08. Well, I make it at 6:09. But I felt the panic. Respiration seems to be the primary factor that takes ALS patients. That's not the way I want to die.
Watch out, beep, 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 beep.
Those people that have passed without using medications seem to be more courageous because they withstand the onslaught of the most serious symptoms. And here I sit thinking, I'm too scared to do that. I'll go through the trapdoor over there and sneak out. I feel I've been getting progressively worse in the last 2 weeks. The hospice wants to send me to an inpatient hospital action cut.
When he came home, he was not very well. He was having trouble breathing. Sunday morning, he woke up and was still weak. Took him in the shower, noticed him sitting in the shower chair with his head slumped down. He can't breathe like that. And I put the mask on him right away, and I was yelling, find his pulse, look for a pulse, look for a pulse.
I was actually out to dinner and she called and said, can you count? I think George just died. And I went in the bedroom. He was laying in the bed. They had him covered up. I put my hand on his chest and he wasn't breathing. And then I reached under his blanket and felt for a pulse. And there wasn't anything.
We're here for a viewing.
Okay.
For George Gallegos. Oh, George, I miss you so much. I love you. I always loved you.
You're welcome to come in and see the chapel.
The last time we spoke about medical aid in dying was right before he went into respite care. I said, George, are you ready to get the meds? And he said, I think I need to do it soon before I lose the strength. He was going to call when he came back home to get the medication, but he passed before he needed it.
What do you gotta get?
I gotta get the popcorn along with the Flavor Flav.
You want to sit by me?
Since the bill passed in 2016, about 200 people in Colorado have obtained the prescription for medical aid in dying. But the state doesn't track how many people actually use it.
Wow.
Like George, roughly a third of the people who obtain the prescription across the U.S. don't take it.
I'll remember George as the love of my life. George's death, whether he took the medication or died naturally, it's the same ending for me. It's inside out still, when the CNAs took it off of him. These are the ones. I moved them. These are the last items George was wearing before he passed away. And so I haven't washed them, and I sleep on them, on top of them, trying to catch a glimmer of his scent. But I think I'm gonna just keep him like this for a while. And I've been sleeping in this hospital bed, but this is where he passed away, in this bed. I used to sleep in it from time to time if he was having a bad day and couldn't breathe. And he would be so afraid, and he would sleep right here in his chair. And I'd sleep here and hold his hand.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.